Today on the AI Applied podcast, we are shouting out a great company that we really love. Our buddy Richard Socher came on the show a little while ago, U.com. And U.com is essentially an AI-powered search engine. It is a competitor to Google. It's a competitor to Perplexity as well, but it's really outstanding, under the radar a little bit. But they have just raised another $50 million in a Series B, which means they've already raised now about $99 million. And listen, these are no joke sort of investors, right? You have Salesforce Ventures, you have Nvidia, you have DuckDuckGo, which is very cool as one of their investors. But this is a fantastic product. Really encourage folks to check it out. And by the way, as I'm passing it over to Jaden, let me just say that on LinkedIn, what I saw, Jaden, and we haven't talked about this yet, but I'm going to embarrass you on the air. You, I think, hit 2 million downloads on one podcast, AI Chat. AI Chat is how I know Jaden. Tiny plug, Jaden. Right in the middle of the show, Jaden has a course, and he is a mad scientist on growth. He's like the strangest human I've ever met on this kind of stuff, but he has a course, Podcast Studios. Go over there, see his course on how to not just start a podcast, but how to grow it like crazy, skip the line, everything else. Sorry, that was just like a thing, Jaden. I wanted to shout you out. I wanted to embarrass you while I had you on the ropes here. Back to U.com.
Greatly appreciate it.
What's going on?
Yeah, so U.com, like you mentioned, we're big fans because we had the CEO on a while back, if you guys all remember the episode. I was really impressed because I hadn't used U.com a lot. I've been more a user of Perplexity. I think, Connor, you were in the same boat. I was kind of blown away, and I've used it since then a little bit more, and I've been quite impressed with what you can actually do with it. So with this new $50 million that they're raising, there's a couple interesting things. One of the big things that they're talking about is kind of the new direction that they're going to take, and that is more towards agents. I think this is definitely a trend that everyone sees the value in, and so people can understand why this would be what everyone's kind of what all these AI companies are talking about right now. They're taking more of a direction towards agents, building tools that can actually go and autonomously accomplish tasks for you. One thing that I did think was interesting that is pretty cool that U.com allows you to do, similar to Perplexity, allows you to switch between AI models. But I've been impressed by the number of AI models that you're able to kind of switch through as you're chatting with it. You're also able to do a lot more complex things, like you can ask it for some data. You can ask it to build a chart of that data. It builds a chart. It's just really pretty, really well put together. You can swap between ChatGPT, Anthropic, Llama, Gemini, like everything in there. Overall, I think this is an awesome tool. I'm a huge fan. And it's actually interesting. We have some friends, some other content creators around AI that I've talked to that I'm like, have you used U.com? And they're like, oh yeah, I exclusively use U.com. I don't use Google. I don't use Perplexity. I don't use ChatGPT. I just use that. Yeah. So to be fair, I think there's people that exclusively use this. It is a great tool. And I think $50 million is not a small amount of money. Like these are big, that these are big players, and they're coming up with some really interesting things. In some of their demos, they're talking about, they're calling them agents, but they feel a little bit like GPTs. I think in the future, you'll probably start seeing these move towards being actual agents and less of a branding thing at the moment. But you can kind of go over there, and similar to the GPT store, you're seeing things like a brainstormer and brand voice and a sales trainer and a PDF analyzer and a grammar checker and Excel Formula Pro. So it's kind of just like these things that we use ChatGPT for. Maybe we already use GPTs for. And they're also building them, and they're calling them agents as well. Now, my only bone to pick with this whole thing is I think it's fine. You call them agents, it's fine. But this all needs to move in a direction where these things are actually autonomously going and accomplishing a task for you. We can't just call GPTs agents. GPTs are like sort of mediocre at best. They don't have a lot of software integrations as it is. I am hoping to build something much better than this with AI Box. So stay tuned for that and get on the waitlist in the show notes as well. But I do like U.com, so I'm a big fan, but I do just want to say I hope that they move this a little bit away from being GPTs and turn it into actual agents.
It's interesting that you bring that up. Do you remember, this is a very sort of like tiny callback thing, but I don't know if you remember this, I remember it really vividly for some reason. Like when Sam Altman was doing Developer Day back in November, before he got fired and all that kind of stuff, and he was introducing GPTs, and it was really huge, and he was demoing one, all that kind of stuff. he started off that demo as before you even knew what a GPT was by saying, listen, we're going to be talking about agents. Everybody's wondering about agents. And here comes, like, he didn't say this, but it's like the embryonic thing around these. And I agree. It's and the embryonic stage of what this is, but it's nothing like what an agent actually is yet. Agent will do very, very different things. Agents are things that will complete tasks autonomously. That is where we are going. That is one of the stages of toward AGI, one of the 5 stages toward AGI that OpenAI lists out. So I agree with you on that kind of little bone to pick. But listen, huge shout out to you.com. This is a really crowded space, and as we asked, are crowded in terms of just the sheer size of the competitors in it. Forget Google. I mean, even Perplexity is now clogging up that lane a little bit. But you.com, I'm with you. A lot of people just like absolutely love this tool. And the thing I love about you.com is that they're really trying to carve out a lane of being super accurate and safe as well. And if they can get accuracy right, I've always said all along, the LLM or the model, on top of an LLM, that can get safety right for sure. That's, I think, getting to be table stakes now. But accuracy right, that is going to change everything. It's going to remove a lot of doubts, and I think that will really help with integration. So that is going to be huge. I'm excited about that. Jaden, last thoughts on you.com and this big raise?
The last thing I wanted to throw in here is just like who the investors are on this round. A lot of the usual suspects, Nvidia. Like, it's so interesting. I love how Nvidia at this point, any of the big AI players, they invest in all of them because they just know, like, the more money they can just like dump into
It comes
AI
back to
companies.
them. It comes back to them anyway.
It all comes back to them. So they're just like, yeah, they're like, well, you want money? Yeah. You're going to use GPUs? Yeah. So they dump it into them. I think it's brilliant by Nvidia. They're just growing the entire industry and inflating it single-handedly. I mean, to be honest, they're inflating the entire US stock market and economy single-handedly. And I personally believe if it wasn't for Nvidia, we'd be in like a recession right now. So,
Yes.
Big shout out to Nvidia for keeping the American economy afloat. But one interesting thing when it comes to who's investing in this U.com round, I thought was interesting was DuckDuckGo. So yes. DuckDuckGo has a browser. They also have a search engine, but they also have a browser, I believe. And it's interesting because it feels like that would be U.com would be like a competitor to them because they both are kind of like a search engine. But I think if you look at it from the browser perspective, they're probably seeing that this is like a search and another search engine that is popular. Maybe they don't want to get left behind. I mean, I just find that interesting. It feels like a straight up competitor giving them money. But I also think that it's probably something that they see on their browser. It's becoming a popular search tool on the browser. And I do think this is an interesting trend of companies investing in companies that that are kind of affiliated with them, or they make money off of them, or their customers, and they kind of put money in. So I think that's an interesting play. I'm really excited for U.com. I think it's a great company, and excited to follow along on their growth. Maybe we'll have to have their CEO hop on again, hear what they're working on next. If you enjoyed the episode today, everyone, I know it takes a second. I know sometimes it's annoying, but if you guys could do Connor and I a huge favor and drop us a review. If you haven't done it already, we would really, really appreciate it. Helps us get amazing guests on, helps us bring you this amazing content. We hope that you all have an amazing rest of your day.